Hopefully I'll do a bit better than Barry Lamb with these slides. He's luckily not here, so he's not going to have a go at me. But yeah, forwards and backwards. So, I'm really privileged to be able to stand up here and do a whole kind of sermon, talk to you guys, share my thoughts, and I think most importantly share just some scriptures out of the Bible.
Amen.
So it is nerve-wracking. I love public speaking, but there's always this like adrenaline nerve that goes on inside. You're like, yes, I need to remember this, I need to remember that, etc. But it's said that it's always difficult as a preacher, I suppose, to pick a topic that everyone can relate to. Quite a lot of people in the room, and that's kind of a hard task. But I do think that I've got something that we can all relate to.
Come on, Heinrich!
So the title, as you can see, No Pain, No Gain. And we're going to be spending most of our time today in James 1. Wow. So, before I begin as well, it is Matt. Where's Matt Frey? Let's get him to stand up quickly. It's Matt Frey's last Sunday ever with us, hopefully not ever. But Matt flies out to Nigeria on Friday, and then he's off to South Africa with his mum Sandy. She leaves on the 27th. So yeah, let's give Matt a massive hug. So he's going out to the band today. That's good. So here we go. I'm just going to get straight into it, and I'm going to start reading James 1, and I'll do verses 2 and 3. Consider it pure joy, my brothers and sisters, whenever you face trials of many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance. Let perseverance finish its work, so that you may be mature and complete, not lacking anything. Now, there are many things, there's a big list of things that give us joy, right? The first point is pure joy. Now, let me get some suggestions. What gives you guys pure joy?
Good food.
Good food, yes. I'm all about that. Family, that's another great one. Sunshine, I heard that in the background. Yes, Ben, great.
Come on, Vitamin D.
Friends, music, there's loads. Husband, that's a great one. I don't have a husband, but I'm sure that is great. Wives, I don't have that yet as well, but I'm sure that's great.
Smart man. Smart man.
A few of the stuff that gives me joy, pure joy, fast cars. I'm a classical guy. TJ can relate to that. Sunset, holidays, nature. There's an incredible amount of things that gives us pure joy.
Yes, that's right.
I think something that is not on my list, though, is trials. Right? I'm sure there's quite a few of us here that, that doesn't come to mind. When James says, consider it pure joy, I really don't think, man, trials, yes. That's amazing. Joy. Let's be happy. If we look at what it says pure joy is, we see that, it says there that pure joy is a feeling of great pleasure or happiness. And I definitely don't have that attitude in trials. It's funny because when Chris Watkins was doing his class last Friday, he said that it's really funny how when you preach about something and do a class about a certain topic, you really do get tested during the week with that topic. So it's probably not the best thing to do, a talk or a sermon on trials. Now, my weeks was interesting, very interesting week, filled with a whole bunch of trials, as I'm talking about James. The morning on Monday started off really well. We had our good company meeting, we read our figures, everything went great. I spoke to customers in the morning, everything went well. And I was on this conference call, my phone just kept going bing, 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 bing. I thought, who is this? Who's annoying me right now? And, my brother and sister would text me saying, have you got the text from Dad? And I thought, this is weird. So I opened up WhatsApp, got a text from my dad in South Africa, saying that our stepmom had just been in a very serious car crash. he sent over a few photos, and you know, it was just horrible. He said that they've you know, raced her straight to A&E. She's in intensive care. She's broken her leg. She's broken her knee. She's got internal bleeding, bruised ribs, lungs collapsed, etc., etc. Wow. Very serious. And I'm sitting there at work and I'm thinking, whoa, this is heavy. How do I, you know, this is quite hard. My dad is all the way in South Africa with my stepmom. He's just moved to Durban. He's not really got anyone there. If things go really bad and, you know, she dies, then he's really got no one. So that was Monday. Tuesday, I've got a meeting all the way in Essex, so I've got to take a train from Bristol, got to drive to the train station, train to Paddington, through London, all the way out to Essex again. Really, it's a trek. Customers. So I'm making my way over to the train station. I get there. There's about, you know, I've got time to get my tickets and all of this kind of stuff. And it's one of those you park your car and you call them up, and then you go on and you pay over the phone. And so I park the car, I'm on the train, and here I go. I try and call the number. Now I need to pay for my parking, otherwise I'm going to get an £80 fine. So I call in, and I enter my car details. Card's declined. Why? I can't pay my parking. I'm freaking out, and I'm getting annoyed by this application, because I called in about 15 times. I took a screenshot in case they didn't believe me. I called in 15 times. 15 times I've got to go through the process of entering my long card number, entering the security code, entering my, you know, kind of registration of the car. And I'm getting really frustrated by this. Really frustrated. This is not the thing that I need. I need to prepare the meeting, and I do not want to go through this right now. And I call my bank up, and you know how that is. You've got to be on the phone for like 15 minutes as well just to get through to someone. And so that's annoying me as well. So Tuesday, I have the meeting goes great, and I'm making my way back to Bristol. I get in the car, I'm texting my dad, how's mum doing, etc., etc. Get in the car, you know, look around, nothing behind me. Blind spot. Didn't take that into consideration. Whilst I'm reversing out, I just hear this, oh man. And I sit there and I'm thinking, wow. The right side of the car, the whole front door, my mirror's broken off, I've got scratches, this huge dent, it's a nightmare. Wow. Now, you know, and I've got a whole hour and a half to drive back to, you know, Marlow to be in the meeting there in the morning, and I've got to do this whole trek with my car window open, freezing. You know, I just thought to myself, this is ridiculous.
Come on, mate.
Pure joy did not come to mind when
no, really?
I need to say that. You know,
poor Heinrich.
Wednesday went by, I was trying to think, what trial did happen on Wednesday? I couldn't really think of that. But Thursday again, I think it was around about Thursday or Friday. We got another text from my dad. You know, throughout the whole week we're trying to ask him how's, you know, stepmom doing, is she okay? And he says she's gone into some sort of coma. She's not responding. She's, you know, been throwing up water, and doctors are really saying it's not great. She's got to go into, you know, kind of some sort of brain scans. It's really serious. And you know, I'm sitting at work and I'm slightly overwhelmed because, you know, I'm talking to my brother and my sister, and I'm asking them, how are you guys feeling about this? Because, you know, we've had various other health challenges, you know, in our household as well. And, you know, I'm sitting there thinking, I'm trying to, you know, talk to my brother and sister and say, how are you guys feeling? Trying to WhatsApp my dad, and my brother was on Skype to my dad, and he's just saying that, you know, Dad's not doing great, and, you know, just trials. You know, we all face them.
Yeah.
We all face them. You know, now, your trials during the week, they may not have been as serious as the ones, you know, I've been going through, or, you know, and being annoyed with applications or whatever. We all face trials of many different kinds. But, you know, I think it's incredible to see what James says here. If we focus on the second part of this, of kind of the passage here, you know, why James is saying this. He's saying here because, you know, he's saying you will face trials. But when we face trials, you know, he says that because, you know, he's almost got this expectation on us. You should know this, of course, guys. You know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance, And let perseverance finish its work, so that you may be mature and complete, not lacking anything.
Wow.
You know, like I said, James is, you know, the way I read this, I can see him being like, dude, man, of course, it's a trial. It's amazing. You're going to grow. This is an opportunity for you to pray and ask God for help, and you can connect to God. He's like, what are you doing, dude? Duh. It's an amazing trial. And I think when I have that mindset that there's something so much greater happening that I can't see right now, that really encourages me. You know, he focuses on this maturity and this wisdom that these trials bring us. You know, like I said, we've all been through loads of trials. Day in, day out. But they really make us better people. They make us more mature and wise. And a bit like Gandalf there, you know. People who love The Hobbit or Lord of the Rings, or I know Roxy may appreciate this, I saw it back then.
No.
You know, but there's something greater happening in trials. You know, we are, it's this, you know, kind of trip that we're going on. We're being matured, we're growing. You know, God is working with us. And, you know, when I see that and when I look at it with you know, joy, this is an opportunity for me to become more mature. This is an opportunity for me, you know, to become more wiser. That does encourage me to a certain extent. Trials are still hard, and there is a time to mourn about trials, and there's a time to be sad and be angry and annoyed. But it's important to not get fixated on the short term of things, but to think about what's really happening over here.
Yeah. Yes.
And there's this incredible scripture that I found in Hebrews 12. And I took the English Standard Version here because it, you know, the wording, I really like the wording here. And it says, for the moment all discipline seems painful, rather than pleasant. But later it yields the peaceful fruit of righteousness to those who have been trained by it.
Wow.
You know, it's about no pain, no gain. You know, if we don't go through these trials, we won't get this incredible picture it's talking about, this yield, you know, this peaceful, you know, fruit of righteousness. We won't get to that stage. You know, if it's an incredible thing to think about. You know, having this scripture in the back of our minds, thinking that when we face a trial throughout the week, you know, first thing that should come to mind, joy. Think about it. Yes, trial. You know, busy growing here. It's such an amazing thing. And, you know, having that kind of joy in the forefront of our minds would help us to overcome trials. It'll make these trials easier. You know, going back to the application this week on my phone, I was calling Barclays and I was just really annoyed and you know, there was a moment there that I caught myself where I thought, Heinrich, you know, what are you preaching on Sunday? James 1. Okay, well, what does that say?
Yeah.
Consider it joy. Okay, maybe this is a good opportunity to pray, right? Yeah. So I sat there, just prayed. I was like, God, I need to get through to someone. I need to sort the parking out. Please just, you know, help me deal with this. And I called this, you know, support service number, and this lovely guy answered the phone, and he said, no sir, it's fine, you don't need to worry about your payment right now. He said, you can pay online, you know, you can pay late and do like a 24-hour thing where you pay later. So it all worked out, but it was still really annoying in the beginning. You know, so just to kind of summarize the first point, pure joy. You know, I think it's incredible. Let's all, you know, throughout the week, and when we're faced with a trial again, you know, let's really think about that trial as an opportunity to grow, to become mature, to become wiser. So let's continue to read here. So James 1, 5 to 8. If any of you lacks wisdom, you should ask God, who gives generally to all without finding fault, and it will be given to you. But when you ask, you must believe and not doubt. Because the one who doubts is like a wave of the sea, blown and tossed by the wind. The person should not expect to receive anything from the Lord. Such a person is double-minded and unstable in all they do.
Wow.
Wow. Now that's quite hardcore. You know, that's quite a hardcore thing that James is saying there.
Yeah.
The thing that I'm focusing on in this passage here, my second point is believe. Now, what photos is he going to bring up here? Have a look. Justin Bieber. This is the first thing that came up when I typed in believe. But
Come on, Heinrich.
I'm not a fan of his music.
You're right.
No, but we need to believe. You know, we really need to believe when we ask God for favors.
Yeah.
You know, if we ask something and we don't expect it, how do we think that it's going to work out? It's not really going to work out. You know, and focusing on the second part of, you know, the chapter is James is saying you will face trials. You will need wisdom to overcome these trials. We'll face many different trials, and we need that wisdom to overcome the trial. He's saying, but when you ask, you must believe and not doubt. Because the one who doubts is like a wave in the sea, blown and tossed by the wind. The person should not expect to receive anything from the Lord. You know, and he says, such a person is double-minded and unstable in all they do. And I think isn't it difficult, though, to have that faith and to believe that God is going to deliver?
Yeah.
And I was thinking, you know, why do I find this so difficult? Why do I find it so difficult to have this faith in God? Why do I find it hard to believe in you know, that God is going to take kind of care of me? And I think the thing is that, you know, God answers our prayers in ways that we don't necessarily expect him to answer.
True.
Right. Good point.
He doesn't answer our trials and our, you know, kind of hardships that we go through in ways that we want him to. You know, he does it in his own way. He answers these prayers in his own way. And having that kind of faith and that belief that God is going to take care of us during these trials and give us this wisdom, it's truly a really difficult thing to do. And, you know, something that you know, I love doing, and I think this is kind of in my nature, is, you know, when I kind of face a trial or when I go through a situation, I almost believe that it's actually going to happen before it's actually happened. Now, let me explain myself here quickly. I lived in this international student house back in London when I was a student. My brother lives in a fantastic place. And in my last year, I was a senior RA. I know it sounds fancy, but it's not too fancy. You know, glory to God. And I kind of came up with this idea. I thought, you know, it'd be kind of good is if they send me to New York, because I know that we've got a sister housing in New York, so that'd be kind of fun. And I kind of went around telling my friends, you know, I just believed that they would. I had faith that, you know, I prayed about it, I said, God, I can meet the church up there, spiritual think tank, God is going to bless this. And I went around and I said, have you guys heard? They're sending me to New York, and I, you know, had this kind of belief that it was going to happen. And, you know, after the meeting I had with the dean there, the dean was like, sure, yeah, we'll send you. Pay for my flights, they're giving me spending money there, they truly hooked me up. We saw, you know, the church there, we joined the Bible, it was fantastic. But I had this incredible just belief that God was going to bless it. Another you know, kind of spiritual example is, I've recently started playing football with the guys in the Bristol office. Now, goodness me. South Africans don't really play too much football. It's usually rugby or cricket or hockey or, you know, other things but football. And so I've never played a football match in my life up until this point a couple of weeks ago.
Wow.
And they said, look, you know, we've got this, you know, mini league going between, you know, some counties in Bristol, and we're short on men and we really need you. We need you to play goalie. There's a lot of pressure. And I thought to myself, oh my goodness, this is gonna be tough. And I sat there at my desk and I prayed. I just prayed. I went straight to prayer. I said, God, I need wisdom here. I've never played football before. I've never played goalie before. I need you to help me. I really need you to help me. And God delivered. You you know, I was in goalie and I was standing there and we were playing the second best, you know, in the league, and at the moment our office is the best in the league, and we're playing the second best guys, and if they, you know, scored a number of goals, they would have gone ahead of us, and so it was a really high pressure, tense game. So I'm standing there and I've got these gloves on and I'm, you know, going for it, and this dude, you know, he kicks the ball and somehow my leg just goes and then I stopped the goal. I was like, ooh, this is good. God is delivering here. and again, they come and I don't know what happened. The Spirit must have kicked him or something, but and I saved another goal, and we ended up going and winning the match. And
Come on, Heinrich.
some of the office guys came in and they said, "Are you sure you've never played football before?" And I was never. You know, I said never. I even said to them, they asked me, "How did you do that?" I said, "Guys, I prayed." You know, I'll be honest with you. I said, I prayed and I asked God to help me, and He's clearly delivered. And you know, it was incredible to have that kind of belief, you know, in a situation of trials. Now, we may not all face these trials of playing football for the first time, but goodness, it was a struggle for me, because I really thought they're putting a lot of pressure on me. So now I play every Thursday and I'm improving my skills and scored a few goals, and so it's going better. I'll update you guys.
Come on, Heinrich.
But you know, it's difficult though. When we face trials, it's very difficult to have that faith. Another example is this is me and my brother. We love doing crazy stuff together, and so we kind of grew up having our parents were divorced when we were young, and we kind of grew up, you know, having a dad but not having a dad, if that makes sense. And we also never really went on like camping trips or father and son trips with our dad. So me and my brother thought a couple of years ago, we thought, let's just go on a crazy trip to Geneva. We'll just pack a bag and we'll just hike around the lake. We'll pack a tent. We are not going to lay out where we're going to sleep, where we're going to walk to, or what we're going to do. We're just going to go. And we're going to pray that God, as a dad, is just going to guide us around this lake. He's going to take us to awesome spots where we're going to sleep. He's going to just guide us. He's going to give us food. He's going to, whatever he needs to do to help us make it around this lake, he's going to do. And the photo here on your left is, we actually hitchhiked, and these two Turkish people picked us up, who couldn't speak a word of English. Very interesting. And you know, the photo on the right here, this massive rainstorm had just like passed over us, and everything just got soaked. Pillows, sleeping bags, tent, everything. But look how happy we are. God is right.
Just before.
But you know, the reason why I want to talk about this for a bit is because this was one of the most amazing trips we've been on, but also one of the least amazing trips we've been on. Because being gluten-free and stuff, it's very, very difficult to find gluten-free food either in Switzerland, in the middle of nowhere, or on the French side, because they love their croissants and their bread. So, you know, I'm sure you guys can relate here. If you don't eat, you become grumpy, and then trials, you know, are made 10 times worse than what they actually are. And if you've also got to walk for 6 hours in a day, and you've not eaten, you really become grumpy, and you really face a lot of trials. But it was an incredible trip for us to go on, because I'd say this really, really tested our belief in God that He would provide. You know, it really tested it.
Wow.
To an extent that I don't think I've been tested to before.
Wow.
We know no one there. We're on our own. We almost did die one evening, but that's another story. You know, we really just had to rely on God. You know, we couldn't speak the languages. Our French is very, very minimal. But, you know, we really did have to rely on God over this trip. And it was incredible how God blessed us. Some of the things we were able to do, some of the things we were able to see, the food that we had, it was so much more than I think what we had expected going into the trip. You know, if you're making notes, Ephesians 3:20 doesn't talk about that. It talks about God being capable of doing far more than what we can even think of or imagine. And I think that's the thing with trials, that if we really believe that God will work through us, and if we really, really believe that God is busy creating, you know, and helping us mature and helping us become wiser in trials, He will go on to do far more than what we can even think of or imagine.
Come on, Heinrich.
You know, however, it's really not easy to do that. And I can very much relate to Jonah here. You know, we can, yeah, let's read the scripture here quickly. So, you know, it says here, the word of the Lord came to Jonah, son of Amittai, go to the great city of Nineveh and preach against it, because the wickedness has come up before me. But Jonah ran away from the Lord and headed for Tarshish, and went down to Joppa, interesting names here, where he found a ship bound for that port. After paying the fee, he went. Now we all know the story of Jonah. You know, he ran away, was on the ship, big storm, all of that kind of stuff. Now the reason why I really relate to him here is you know, as most of you know, I've recently moved down to Bristol, and you know, I'm in the church there with my grandparents, you know, most of the time, and you know, love it down there. But it's really difficult. You know, it's just me and Alice down there. You know, Tim and Chevy are helping us dearly, and you know, we meet up with them as much as we can, and there's a few students we're studying with, but it's really, really difficult. And it's especially difficult for me because I really have a hard time investing in people. I really have a hard time investing deeply in people. And when you want to study the Bible with people, and when you know, when you want to help people become Christians, you really need to do a lot of investment in people. You know, you really need to go out your way and give them time, and you really need to go out your way and face a lot of different trials. I really don't want to go tonight, and I really don't want to drive to Alex's hall, who we're studying with now. You know, some of my thoughts. I really don't want to drive all the way there and pick him up and drive all the way back and then drop him off again. And, you know, I'd rather do this, or I'd rather do that, or oh, I really don't want to do this, or you know, I really don't want to go and have communion with Alice, and you know, all of these lazy thoughts. Sorry, Sugar, I love Alice and I love doing all that. But you know, I can definitely be tempted by that, by these thoughts. I can definitely be tempted by wanting to give.
Attention please, could Ian May please report back to the main hall? Ian May, please report back to the main hall. Thank you.
You know, but it's difficult for me to be in Bristol, you know, because there's, to a sense that, you know, God is putting me there because I know that He's busy really developing me. He's really busy helping me to mature. He's really helping me to, you know, get over all of these really silly, you know, stupid, small kind of, you know, selfish thoughts that I have, in the sense of I don't want to give to this person, I don't want to do that, I don't want to do that. You know, I know that God is really, really helping with that. And the same way here with Jonah, Jonah was scared and he ran away. You know, he didn't kind of see that God was you know, aiming to create something bigger in Jonah's life. And you know, when you read Jonah, you really do see that God is really testing Jonah's weak points and the weaknesses in Jonah. Jonah builds that into a strength. And so for me, it's been incredible to see this vision. You know, God is, you know, busy building something in Bristol that's far beyond my vision.
Come on.
And that brings a lot of joy in me, because I'm like, why has He chosen me to go down to Bristol? The way He's worked out has meant I need to be in Bristol, and Alice is in Bristol, and God is really busy building this incredible vision in Bristol. And that really, really fires me up. You know, but to conclude that point, you know, we really need to believe that God is doing that. You know, and I want to ask you guys, how is your belief? How is your faith that God is busy working in your life? Is this something that you're really, you know, clocking? Are you really believing that God is working in your life? And if not, really use the week to reflect on that. Think, you know, how is God, you know, helping me? How is God working in me? So, this brings me to my third and last point, is stay strong. Now, where's Alex? He's going to enjoy the next photo I've got up here. So this is me trying to get into shape. Really, really difficult. I may look like a strong guy, you know, standing up here, although it's hard. Put me under some weights, and goodness me, I'm actually a lot weaker than I think I am. This is me and Jack in the gym a couple of years ago when we used to live together, and we were doing these bench presses, and I was struggling. But yeah, stay strong is the third point. You know, so let's continue reading here in James 1 verses 12. It says here, "Blessed is the one who perseveres under trial, because having stood the test, that person will receive the crown of life that the Lord has promised to those who love him." I think, you know, James is almost preparing the way here quickly, because he's saying something glorious. He's painting a picture of stay strong, because when you do stay strong, and when you have persevered, and when you've stood the test of the trials that you're going to face, God will give you this incredible promise. You know, however, he says here as well, when tempted, no one should say, God is tempting me. For God cannot be tempted by evil, nor does he tempt anyone. But each person is tempted when they are dragged away by their own evil desire and enticed. Then, after the desire has conceived, it will give birth to sin. And sin, when it is fully grown, gives birth to death. Now, I think James is also, he's being really realistic here, because, you know, it's just difficult. Life is challenging, life is difficult. And I think this was an interesting scripture for me to read, because I think, you know, how do we respond when we face trials? You know, getting that text from my dad, it's easy to think, well, why is God allowing this? You know, what has she done? Why is she in intensive care? You know, it's easy to kind of go to that. You know, it's almost an easy escape. Or, you know, when we're tempted with more general things around us, you know, yeah, we can easily justify, you know, those temptations and those trials as well. It's fine, it's once, it's okay, you know. And I think, you know, James is painting this picture of, you know, continue throughout Scripture. He almost breaks it up into these passages I've broken up. He says, you will face trials, but pray. You know, you have to believe, because if you don't believe, then you're shaky. And he says here that when you've stood the test, you'll receive this incredible thing. But do remember, he links it straight back to the point that you will face trials. And it's your responsibility to stand strong in that way. It's your responsibility to pray and ask for wisdom. And, you know, I think for me as a young working man, that sounds really weird to say, because it used to be teen and you know, all this kind of stuff. But, you know, being a young working man in the working world, anyone here who's not working yet, enjoy your life. Work is incredible, and I love my job. I love the company I work for. I love what I do. But you only really do live for the weekends. You're like, it's Monday. You don't remember anything during the week, and you're like, oh, it's Friday again. How did this happen? It's just this rat race that goes on. You're so busy the whole time. It's quite difficult to leave that sometimes. But it's challenging spiritually as well. It's very, very, very challenging spiritually. Making time for my quiet times, that's very difficult. Honestly, some weeks go by where I'm like, have I even done a quiet time this week? No, I haven't. Where's the time gone this week? You know, making time to go out and pray, or even pray in my room, that's really, really challenging for me. Again, sometimes it would go by where I'd start praying, then I'd think, oh, I've got to email this client, I've got to do that. Oh, sorry, God, wait. Help me during my day, be with my mom, be with my brother. Oh yeah, that client, I've got that meeting. What does the schedule say? It's really, really challenging to make that time and go to a solitude place. And I think, you know, the nature of the company I work for, everyone there it's young. It's a really young workforce. And there's a lot of money. You know, I'm surrounded by a lot of young people who are making quite a lot of money, and you know, it's a bit like this Wolf of Wall Street environment. You know, close massive deals. Let's just buy the most expensive booze. Let's get wasted, and let's just hang out with really hot women. That's what it is, and it's extremely difficult for a Christian and for myself to stand out in those environments. And I can definitely say that, you know, talking about these trials, they are things that I face every single day in the office. People talking crudely, or, you know, going out and drinking loads, and you know, swearing loads, and lying to customers. It's so easy. I was speaking to Carlo the other day. Someone would say, "Oh, can you just take this phone call?" And he'd sit next to the guy taking the phone call for him, and he'd be like, "Oh, I'm sorry, he's away from his desk." I'm like, "Dude, he's sitting right next to you. He's not away from his desk." But it's easy how these small white lies just go on in the office, and you know, I'm guilty of that as well sometimes. You know, so there are so many trials, so difficult for you to kind of, you know, stand firm. And I think what James is saying here, that if we don't have a grip on that, we are enticed, and we do fall into sin. And I think being in Bristol, you know, the last couple of weeks or the last couple of months has been difficult for me, you know, like work is busy. I travel a lot. I'm in Manchester, then I'm all the way in Essex, like I said, then I'm in Marlow again, then I'm in Bristol, then I'm in Leeds, then I'm here, then I'm there. So, you know, it's very inconsistent. And I'm still trying to figure out as a young working man how to deal with that consistency. And I think that's a big danger for me, because the last couple of months, my quiet times have been extremely flaky. I've not necessarily seen a need to do my quiet times, to need God, to need to pray. And because I haven't seen that, it's slowly eaten away at me. I'm hanging out with my work people a bit more, and we've got this team night out, which is this, you know, night out, and you know, they kind of pay for incredible dinners, and they just treat us, they motivate us, I suppose. And you know, it was hard for me, because I went out with my team one night, and I had way too much to drink. And I thought to myself, you know what, beforehand I was like sitting there with all my teammates and people in the team, and I thought, I was kind of feeling a bit, you know, isolated from them, and I thought, yeah, this is quite hard. I mean, I don't really enjoy talking about what these guys are talking about. You know, how can I relate to them? You know, what can I do? And you know, because I wasn't feeling really strong spiritually, like I didn't really think about very strong spiritual stuff that I should have. And you know, one thing led to the other. We went out, and I started joking with them, and the next thing I knew, it hit me, and I was like, I've had way too much to drink, and you know, I just you know, got drunk with them, and I just thought to myself, the next morning, I felt so bad. And I just thought to myself, why did I allow this? You know? I had this one shot to be an incredible example in front of the people I'm working with, to stand out, to show them that I'm different, to show them that that I don't want to participate in drinking, or I don't want to participate in crude joking, or any of these things. Yet, I was enticed by my own sin. It's not God's fault. No, it's only my fault. It's only my fault for not seeing that need. Seeing that I really need God on a daily basis. Seeing that I need to stand strong. Because if I don't stand strong, I'm not set apart. I'm really not set apart. And if I don't stand strong, then a bit like James says here, I you know, won't have this joy of looking forward to this crown of life that I'll receive. Because sin is very, very disruptive. You know, if sin really gets to us, and then it becomes a part of our daily lives, and we start to justify sin, it will ultimately separate us from God. And that is a scary thought. You know, after seeing this picture that James is painting here, of this incredible peaceful and righteousness that we're going to receive with God one day, this joy that we should have because God is building these visions in us. If we lose sight of that, it is really, really a dangerous, time for us. And I think to conclude, here we go. Pure joy. As we go on in the week, and as trials are going to come, I'm just giving you a warning. Face it with pure joy. Instead of feeling frustrated or angry or annoyed, just think, how can I grow out of this? God, thank you for this trial. Let's really face these trials with pure joy. The second point is believe. Believe that God is busy doing something more amazing in our lives.
Sure.
Believe that God is using us and maturing us and giving us more wisdom to overcome the trials that are going to come, down the line. And finally, leave you with a photo there.
Amen.
Stand strong.
Yeah.
Trials and temptations are going to come during the week as well. And let's stand strong.
Yeah.
Thank you for your time today.
Thanks, Heinrich.